Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. We are on the test server today, and this is what we're doing. We are going to be playtesting the brand new upcoming fusion, Packmaster Shy'ek or Shy'ek. He's right here. He's going to be a Force Affinity HP based support champion. So if you guys don't know too much about his kit, we just go over here real quick. So his A1 is a 50% up to 70% chance of decreased defense for 2 turns. It has this special Hound synergy, so any of these Hounds will team up and attack with him when he uses his A1. His A2 cleanses this champion with a big heal, 50% of their max HP. He also places a shield for the surplus heal. The shield cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred if you have any of the Hounds on the same team. And then finally, also places a taunt and reflect damage, same conditions, cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred if there's one of these Hounds on the team. So this is actually really cool. These buffs can be extended, so there's definitely going to be some kind of shenanigans there, but it's down to a 3-turn cooldown, which makes it a pretty unique ability. 3-turn cooldown, 2-turn taunt, very unique ability, and protected as well. So his A3 comes down for a 3-turn cooldown, fills the turn meter by 25%, so it's a pretty decent turn meter fill, and then he has a 100% chance of placing block buffs. It's a touchless block buff, so it cannot weak hit, it can go through Poison Cloud and all that stuff, and of course it cannot be resisted if there's Terror Beast, Gore Mask, and all these other Hounds on the team. So very interesting kit so far. The passive, it makes it even more interesting. When he is attacked, he places Hex on the attacker, and then ally attacks on targets under allies that attack targets under the Hex placed by this champion deal 20% more damage. So it can be placed by this Hex passive, or it can be placed by the Hex set. So it does apply for this bonus, so very nice. And then when this champion is attacked, the beast will also attack the enemy as well. So a lot of interesting synergies here. His kit actually works pretty well together. It's definitely very Hydra centric, the way I'm looking at it right now. Looks like a very decent Hydra champion, especially with the AoE block buffs, the taunt, the shield, and then some of these synergies actually can be proven pretty good. So there's a little bit of speculation going on that there might be a future Hound that might synergize very well with Packmaster. Right now there's not too many Hounds available that are high quality. Most of these are pretty poor quality, but we can be hopeful that Plarium gives us at least one Hound in the future. But I don't want to put too much stock into Plarium buffing this particular one champion in the future. So for example, I wouldn't expect them to release Hounds just to make this one champion better in the future. They might release one Hound shortly after this fusion starts, maybe to promote it a little bit, maybe to hype it up a little bit. That's my thoughts. Could be a login champion, Hero's Path, or Guarantee, or whatever, but that's my thought, is that they might release one Hound, and that Hound hopefully will be good. Anyways, also has speed in all battles, very nice. Great base stats, of course, very good. So how did I build out my Packmaster here for my testing? So I'll show you guys my build here, and I'll explain what I was thinking. So we are on the test server here, and this is my Packmaster. I put him in a Hex set. I am using him strictly for Hydra for testing in this video. I think that is his best spot. Plarium did mention that he is a PvP champion. I highly doubt that, but for Hydra, PvE specifically, he looks very good. So let's jump right into his build. Okay, so here is my Packmaster Shy'ek, and this is my build. I focus specifically for him for Hydra in this testing video. I built him in a Hex set, so to capitalize on his passive that gives your allies increased damage to enemies with Hex placed by Packmaster himself. So it could be placed by his passive or with a curse set. So I chose to give him a curse set here. This gives him an extra chance to place Hex, so he now has a chance to place Hex when he is hit, and he has a chance to place Hex when he is attacking. The problem with this is that he only really has one attacking ability, his A1. And then obviously his A3 is touchless and his A2 is a self buff. So to kind of remedy this, you kind of pair him with ally attackers. That might work, gives you some extra attacks. After that, I gave him resistance so that he basically will resist whatever buffs deal from the mischief, for example, or provokes or anything like that. Just make sure that he basically goes unhindered with his abilities. To kind of make sure that he is the mischief tank, I gave him a blood shield accessory so he gains an extra buff when he is attacking. This kind of focuses him as the mischief target. Obviously he has resistance, so he will be able to resist the mischief from stealing some of his buffs. But you might be thinking, why give him resistance? Because his buffs are protected. If there's a hound on the team, well, he will be subject to other buffs. So I don't want him to be targeted, get his buffs stolen, and so forth. So I want to make sure that he gets protected that way. So I did give him resistance. He does have accuracy to play in the highest difficulties of Hydra. And I'll show you guys the total stats here. In the Hydra stage, so 304 speed with the Hydra bonuses and all that stuff. Enough resistance and accuracy. He needs about 350 accuracy and about 450 resistance for the highest levels. You definitely tone that down or anything lower. Fully booked, he gets good value from books. He's not particularly book hungry. He's 9 books in, so not particularly book hungry there. I gave him Brimstone just because Brimstone feels like it's the most impactful damage dealing blessing for him, since he only has one attack. He only has one attack and it's a single target. So I gave him Brimstone. Also because the team doesn't have a Brimstone, so it kind of made sense to give him one. For the masteries, I gave him Unshakable just because I needed the extra resistance stats. After that, extra damage reduction here. Chance to remove debuff just in case. Damage reduction here. Chance to counterattack, which is nice for him. Gave him some extra HP, shield boosting, turn meter so he can get some more of his juicy A2 and A3, more of his juicy A2, A3, extra stats here, extra duration on his buffs, extra duration on his decrease defense and block buffs. So pretty standard kind of like masteries here. I didn't give him War Master just because, like I said, he only really has one attack. It doesn't feel worth it to give him War Master just for one attack. So that's my Packmaster. That's only one piece of the puzzle that I put together here. So the other piece is which hound currently makes the most sense with this guy. And there's really only one option. And it's going to be Felhound. Felhound comes with a A1 AoE. Sorry, I'll grab him right here. Felhound is the rare champion. We know him as the campaign farmer. 5-second campaign farmer if you guys have him. But he has the A1 decrease speed AoE. He's the only one that kind of really makes sense currently. There's no real other hound that really makes sense available for this partner bonus. The problem with Felhound is that, one, he's a rare. His base stats kind of suck. As you can clearly see, 14.8k HP. 1k defense, 92 base speed, just really sad. Really low percentage chance to land his decreased speed, and it's a baby decreased speed. So there's a couple issues with Felhound here, but he is the best option because it has an A1 AoE, meaning that he can be paired with a curse set or provoke set for some additional utility. These other abilities can be good. For example, this can be kind of useful for like Wixwell teams, giving additional buffs. But we're going to focus mainly on his A1. He does scale off defense and attack, which is interesting, makes him a little bit easier to build. But here we go. I'm going to show you guys 2 different Felhound runs where I used him in 2 different builds, and I'll show you guys. I will talk through it and I'll show you guys the builds afterwards. All right, so this is the first run here, and this is the team that I got put together for this showcase. It is only on hard difficulty, so definitely you can probably scale it up depending on your survivability stats. But we have Packmaster here in the lead. He's going to be our only Hex champion. I wanted to see how strong he could be by carrying the Hex output on a team. Because initially I don't think he can do it, because first of all, his passive relies on the Hydras to attack into him. I don't think that's going to be consistent enough to properly land Hex on all the heads whenever you need to land the Hex. Basically because if you're doing lower difficulty, you're going to be outspeeding the Hydras, you're going to be killing the Hydra heads faster, and then you want to place Hex right away. But if, for example, decapitated heads, they can't hit into Packmaster, right? You can't place Hex that way, and Hex, we know, deals a ton of damage. So I want to see if Packmaster can carry the Hex load by himself. So he's in there by himself with the Hex. We have a Provoke Felhound in this run. He is running the blessing that allows the Felhound to place the larger version of the decreased speed on the A1. So that's really, really nice. I do have a 6-star on him. So that gives a 60% chance to land the bigger version. We have Podrick here for buffs ally attack. Like I said, ally attacks gives Packmaster extra A1s. Taras here is just a generic damage dealer. Of course, he's very good damage dealer. But he's in here kind of as a generic damage dealer, not offering any buffs or debuffs himself. So you can definitely sub him out for any damage dealer. And also he offers a benchmark against the other damage dealers on this team. We have Lydia in here. She is in a protection set just for additional damage. She's running cruelty. And then we have a Shamail in here as well. And I believe he's running just a guardian set. He does have resistance for some mischief tanking. So let's play this out. All right. So decreased defense coming down. Lydia has the 9-piece protection set, so there's an extra 10% damage. Taras there with the damage, AoE. Shamail handling the torment. And let's see what Packmaster can do here. So Packmaster attacks. You see that the decreased speed is coming from the Felhound. Only Felhound has decreased speed on this entire team. So we rely solely on Felhound for decreased speed, and we rely solely on this Felhound for Provoke. So you see places once already on the ally attack. And then you can kind of see the boosting turn meter here. Alright, so decreased speed landing. No Provokes landing yet on the Head of Decay. We're gonna solely rely on the Provoke set for the Provokes in this whole run. See if it's actually viable. There's a taunt coming down. Okay, so the Provokes didn't land there. Not consistent enough just with the Provoke set and the Felhound. This mainly comes from the issue that Packmaster just doesn't attack that much. But we see there one attack and then the Felhound attacks. Really cool to see, actually. I like it. So Packmaster gets attacked twice, and then you see the Felhound attack twice. That's nice. That's really nice to see. And then you see the hexes coming down. If only all the heads attack like the Head of Suffering, right? Like a double attack, and then you can get some really nice procs from the Felhound. Block buffs coming down, really, really nice. Taras dishing out the damage. Okay. The block buffs is very good though. Very consistent from the Packmaster. Alright, so the Felhound attacking again. Got the decreased speed down. In general, the debuffs from the Felhound seem relatively consistent, at least the decreased speed. It seems like the Provoke is not super consistent. There you go, landed one Provoke. Okay. And I do like the Packmaster's A1 decreased defense. So once he hits with the decreased defense, he lands the Hex, decreased defense, and then the Felhound attacks. It's a nice boost in damage. So you'll really see the damage start ramping up here when the heads get decapitated. Okay. So he attacks, the Felhound attacks, really nice. Yeah, so I mean, in general, you basically consider the Felhound to be basically an extension of the Packmaster whenever they do the A1. The problem is that the Packmaster doesn't attack that much. I did think about putting him in maybe like a Relentless set so that he can get some extra attacks in, but having Relentless just makes him run through his buffs, but a little bit quicker. So I don't know if that's ideal. For sure his A2 taunt probably can be abused in probably something like a Yannicka team. So I would bring up a Yannicka team here. So for example here, courtesy of Tyraku's Yannicka Wixwell video. So you could basically run Packmaster maybe in place of Emic, and then you could run like a Felhound for the decreased speed, Provoke maybe in place of Nia, but you'll be missing out on the cooldown reduction on them. But I mean, it might be possible. It might be possible. But because the taunt is 1 turn less than Emic's, it might be possible that Packmaster could potentially be a replacement here for a Wixwell Yannicka team. But I haven't been able to replicate myself just because I'm not too familiar with this team. I haven't built one myself, so I don't want to spend like basically like days trying to make it work and then figuring out it doesn't work and then having to figure out what happened. It's just a little bit too intensive for my purposes. So hopefully somebody in the community will figure it out, but I think there probably is something there. Especially with the protected buffs allowing the Head of Mischief to be kind of stopped from like stealing all the buffs from the taunt target, which is pretty cool. So definitely I think there is something there. So thank you Tyraku for the video and that little picture there. You can kind of see here the damage is starting to ramp up here. We're at 26 million over 18. Felhound kicking it, doing the damage. So really good here. See the Mischief attacking the Packmaster and then just getting the Hex landed on him. That's really, really nice. It's going to be an accuracy check, of course. So we do have proper accuracy there. Yeah, like I said, I wanted resistance on Packmaster just because there are some additional buffs that he does get from the other champions that could be stolen. For example, Lydia's speed up, strengthen, continuous heals. So I wanted to make sure that he was protected against that. Yeah, so 35 over 22. It seems like a pretty good pace. This is only hard difficulty, but we only run really one damage dealer on this team, which is Taras. And then in this case, Felhound is basically like a support champion. He's running a Provoke set, no ignore damage. So we'll speed through to the end of this run because I don't want you guys to go through all of it, but I think we explained a lot about this kind of setup already, and then the Felhound here showing how good it can be. It is a little bit inconsistent, especially if you really need the Provoker, and I believe Packmaster himself is a little bit inconsistent in terms of placing the Hex just by himself. So it might be a good idea to put a secondary champion in Cursed, or it could be a good idea to put a secondary champion in Provoke. So we'll speed to the end of this and I'll show you guys the final result. Honestly, this team was incredibly safe until the very end. So you can kind of see here, we actually went the full distance, full 1500 runs here. Full auto, by the way, it's full auto. I think I stepped in and targeted like 2 heads near the end, but it was basically full auto. So really good to see, really consistent. The AoEs landing from the Felhound was consistent enough for a decreased speed, and then provokes, occasional provokes there. So yeah, show you guys the final screen. Boom. 403 million damage here. We got Packmaster coming in with 32 million. So 32 million to me seems very low, especially for a Hex champion. So this kind of confirms to me that himself cannot be the singular Hex champion on the team. He just can't place it quick enough, at least in this current build. So we have the Felhound here with 94 million damage, about a quarter of the total damage, which is actually pretty impressive considering he's not really in ignore defense build. He's in the Provoke set. He does have crit cap and he has damage on him, but 94 million from this Felhound is very, very impressive. Podrig's not going to do much here, so 2.8 million. Taras setting the standard at 161 million. Lydia doing 24 million herself. She does run Warmaster, so that's probably it. Inquisitor Shamail with 85 million himself with the Phantom Touch and Warmaster himself. So keep in mind that Shy'ek doesn't have Warmaster, so all that damage is basically from Hex. So, but I would expect more damage from him for Hex if the Hex was full uptime. I think we show the build here for the Felhound real quick. So here is the build for the Felhound. He is in Provoke. He has no speed, so keep that in mind. He's running 155 speed, no speed. He has 4.4k defense with attack, 281 crit damage, and accuracy to land the decreased speed. Okay, so fully booked, of course, and then running Helm Smasher for some extra damage. But that's going to be the build for the Felhound. I did do another run here, this time with the full damage Felhound. So I'll go over that one and see how it goes. Okay, so here we have the identical team. This time I put a lethal Felhound in this team with speed, so he can be dealing maximum damage. To offset the Provoke requirement, I do have Shamail in Provoke, so he's going to be doing the provoking. Just some general feelings about this particular run. The Provoke was definitely less consistent without the AoE provokes from the Felhound. And you guys might be surprised at the final outcome, but that could be build related. Okay, so build related for the Felhound, but we'll see how the run goes here. Everything else is the same. So just the Shamail is different and just the Felhound is different. It kind of goes basically the same way. Provoke's very, very solid there. And then the Felhound, additional damage, does still place decreased speed. So he is sped up. He's about 255 speed. So about 100 speed more than the other one. So he should be landing the speed down pretty consistently, but no provokes this time. He's all damage and lethal gear. And then we have Shamail covering the provokes. But the run basically goes exactly the same here. So I love it. So there's the attack from the Packmaster, and then the Felhound just like unloads the AoE. Taras coming in with the big slam. He's still damage dealer here. But yeah, I'll show you guys the final result about this run, but it's basically the same thing. So again, this run goes the distance, 1500, full auto. This one full auto. I actually fell asleep and then it was still running. So it's literally full auto. And I wasn't really watching on what happened, so I don't know how well the provokes handled. Maybe the provokes could have been better and this run could have been dealing way more damage, but as you can clearly see, the damage is actually basically the same. The Shamails are very similar builds. The only real difference is the Provoke coverage and the Felhounds. But the Felhound, I feel for DPS, I feel probably wasn't built perfectly because it was more weighted towards attack than it was towards defense. So I feel like if I weighted his damage more towards defense, he might have been able to squeeze out a little bit more damage than what I got out of him in this run. So we'll do a damage comparison against both end screens, and then we can make some more analysis after that. So Taras obviously doing the heavy carry here for the DPS. But we'll bring up the end screen here and we'll compare it against the other run. All right, so this is the DPS for the the DPS for the DPS Felhound. So we see Shy'ek here with only 25 million damage. So if you guys recall from the Provoke one, Shy'ek actually dealt 32 million, and of course this is all from Hex. So whether his Hex landing ability was worse or better, he's getting much less Hex damage during the Fel DPS run. The Felhound here did 109, the DPS version. The Provoke version did about 15 million less damage. Honestly, that's not a huge difference considering you're getting like the lethal ignore defense bonus, and you're getting an extra 100 speed roughly. We'll show the build after we compare the stats here, but yeah, you're getting quite a bit more stats. Podrick here, very consistent, 2.6 million versus 2.8 million. We have Taras with 174 in the DPS run, and then 161 in the Provoke run, which is interesting to see that Taras actually got significantly less. It could be a little bit of RNG from his Merciless set, for example. But yeah, 15 million difference there from Taras. Lydia, 23 million in the DPS run, 24 million in the non-DPS run. Could be just War Master. And then this Shamail did 71 million, and then the other Shamail did 85 million. So it could be the difference between the Shamails as well. There's a little bit of a difference. One was in Provoke, one was in Guardian gear. The stats are generally about the same, but you know, it could be Phantom Touch, could be War Master procs, but I think there's a little bit of a difference there for the Shamails. The Felhound, the difference about 15%, 17-18% damage difference for the lethal set. Didn't feel significantly big. But I'll show you the build for the Felhound here. So Felhound in lethal, 264 speed, 188 crit damage, 4.2k attack, 3.1k defense. I think if the defense was 4.2k and the attack was 3.1k, it might have did significantly more damage. So he is in lethal and crit damage here. So compare that to the Provoke set. I don't know if it's actually a significant benefit for Felhound. But anyways, guys, funny thing is I actually did do a couple runs before Felhound because my account didn't actually have Felhound, and I had to have it injected into my account by Banana Jam, our community manager. So I did do some testing earlier on without Felhound, and I'll show you guys the results from that. So here I actually used a Gore Mask instead of a Felhound. So Gore Mask here is actually in full damage, like lethal gear and everything. All the other debuffs were kind of covered, and we kind of see the damage here from Gore Mask. He just has single target attacks, but he does have stronger A2 and A3 in terms of overall damage, so they're more single target oriented. But you can kind of see here his damage compared to Varl. Varl is a very top tier damage dealer for Hydra, but Gore Mask actually doing not too bad, right? He's kind of keeping pace here, so I think Felhound with his AoE obviously is more has more utility, right? It obviously brings decreased speed as well. But here's a Gore Mask, no blessings. He's still putting up some pretty decent damage numbers, and of course making Shy'ek here maybe not that okay actually, just because he's not his damage is not actually that high. So it does feel like his Hex is probably not landing enough in any of these runs. So I think that would be a bit of a cautionary thing that we have to be worried about how often he can place his Hex. Maybe there's a better way to get him to land his Hexes. Maybe, yeah, I'm not too sure. I wasn't able to come up with any other ideas that would allow him to basically get more attacks in to make his curse set better. Maybe if he had more speed. But like I said, guys, like you can't really have a decapitated head get Hex on them because they cannot attack Shy'ek, and that's kind of when you want the Hexes on the decapitated heads so that you can deal maximum damage against them. So yeah, that feels to me like it's not really a viable single Hex champion. when he does land the hex and then he gets the bonus going, the damage is significant. So that means you can probably clear the heads quickly when he lands the hexes on them, but on decapitated heads, he can't do that. So he can't do that consistently enough for you to reach like insane amounts of damage. So that would be my big concern here. Also, my big concern is that there's just not significant hounds that are super good. There's just none. So right now we have Felhound, which I feel is probably for sure the best. So we have Felhound here. The other ones are just really bad. So Felhound, and then we're just basically banking on any future ones that are going to be good. So personally, is this guy worth getting? Personally, I had a lot of fun playing with him. I like the Felhound, like kind of ally attacking with him pretty consistently. I like that Felhound is an AoE A1 champion, so it does give him some flexibility in what you want to do. Like I said, you can give him a Provoke set, you can give him a curse set. I think in a curse set he would be really nice as well. Provoke set, you guys can see from that run, it worked out pretty good. We went the full 1500. Of course, we have pretty good DPS to back him up to get him out of sticky situations. But yeah, I think the animations are fun. You know, Felhound was doing pretty good damage, about 100 million compared to Taras, 170 million. Obviously, Taras is going to run away with the damage, but you know, Felhound was doing pretty good. There's just not enough hound support, right? Truthfully, Plarium probably should have added some other hounds, like maybe Basatha. I heard people were talking about, like, I mean, he looks like a hound. He's not like the beast hound. He's like a lizard hound or whatever. Or, you know, Brachus. Brachus probably should have been, you know, Brachus is a kind of a hound. He's a wolf. But a wolf is, a dog descendant. But anyways, we're kind of banking on what Plarium has in store, right? If they release a guarantee good hound champion, or, you know, a Titan event or whatever, something to chase for that makes the Packmaster significantly better, then maybe we will kick ourselves for missing this fusion. Personally, I'm going to go for him no matter what. I think he's actually pretty good, and I think his A2 ability paired with his protected ability here and a 2-turn cooldown, I think makes him worth getting already. This makes him pretty special. Although his condition is hard to make use of, his condition is actually not impossibly bad. That's the thing. Felhound is viable. And it might actually be useful for mid-end accounts that maybe have a Felhound for a campaign farmer. I don't know. Maybe they only have a Felhound and they don't have anything else. And if you have a Packmaster, suddenly your Felhound becomes really, really good. So just saying, guys. But I'm going to definitely be going for him. I like him. I think he's going to be above average. He brings the AoE block buffs with touchless block buffs, so he is an option for block buffs against Hydra. There's just not that many block buff champions. Like if you're going to look into block buffs, you have Wukong, you have Ugo, you have Pinthroy, and then you have like Tuhanarok. Yeah, you just don't have that many options. You have Ugo here, Uko. You have a 4-turn with Deliana. You have Gerptuk. But Gerptuk's like, some of these shit, like Gerptuk can't be used in most teams. Lady Kimmy is pretty good, conditional, single target here. But yeah, there's just not that many. And Packmaster, yeah, he's got it covered. So anyways, guys, hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Hopefully the testing was fun, and hopefully it answered some questions that we were all kind of questioning. Yeah, let me know in the comments below if you guys have any suggestions on what could be improved, any ideas on what can be done for Packmaster here to make him even better. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the community comes up with. I think the A2 is going to build some pretty cool, interesting teams. But yeah, I would look out for this ability and probably something with the Yannicka team. But Taunt is something that not too many champions have. And this one is particularly special. So anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Appreciate your time as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.